Hi, this is Nanda Dave, Director of the Mentors, serving corporate with behavioral change and managerial effectiveness training, assessment and profiling solutions, plus consulting in strategic HR areas. Welcome to my third podcast in the series on how to define criteria for promotional potential assessment. In the first episode, we talked about how promotion decisions affect both the employees and employers. What is the importance of a potential assessment during promotion? In the first podcast, we understood the first criteria, that is, focus on employees' track record of managing efficiencies through the story of two Brahmins, Dvivedi and Chaturvedi. We also discussed that the criteria should be objective and rational. In the second podcast, we discussed the second criteria for promotional potential assessment. That is, look for track record of accountability and not responsibility through the case study of Gangaram Sweeper. We discussed at length what is the difference between accountability and responsibility. Today I am pleased to welcome you to the third podcast in the series about adapting change. Choose an employee who takes least time to attend the call of change and therefore least resistance. This does not mean the employee should be a yes man. He should not have his own independent opinion or should not share the difference openly. It only means that in spite of difference of opinion, the employee has shown track record of supporting change, later on has willingly subscribed to the change proposal. Let us understand this with some examples. People like change, but they don't like to be changed. Lockdown was a good change initially, where we were longing to take a break and take rest, spare quality time with family, etc. But this kept extending beyond expectations. Work from home became a new normal. It means we had to change our lifestyle, our work habits. We resisted it to its maximum. Any individual who goes through change goes through these 5 phases of change. Stage 1 is denial. We refuse the reality. We are not ready to believe that change has knocked the doors. Stage 2, anger. How can this happen to me? How could you do this? What right do you have? Etc. etc. Stage 3, bargain. We negotiate the don't do's. Please let us do this. Stage 4 is grief. Accepting the change is a reality. Change can't be changed. So we take the change with a pinch of salt. Change 5 is acceptance. We gather the strength. We boldly face the situation. We adapt to change consciously. Some of us are able to go from stage 1 to 5 depending upon intensity of change, our change orientation, etc. Some of us are stuck in between. Some of us are never able to reach the 5th stage. Those who are able to quickly transit from stage 1 of denial to stage 5 of acceptance will surely face the times with greater success. Those of us who are stuck on the route from stage 1 to 5 spend their energies in either justifying the non-acceptance of change or in maintaining status quo. Dear employers and fellow HR professionals, such examples are available in ample. When you wish to promote an employee, check his change acceptance tendencies. Does he move from stage 1 to 5? Does he move quickly and willingly? Does he remain stuck in between, spoiling the environment and resistance and negative energy? Is he likely to become a negative example for others to follow? For example, rate the following statements on 1 to 5 rating, 1 being the lowest and 5 being the highest. Employee shows the sign to buy in for change. He demonstrates the willingness to embrace the change in some fashion and continues the change process. He tries out new systems and concepts. He displays optimism and sees positive implications. He commits the time and energy. He takes responsibility for his own actions related to change. He shows enthusiasm, high energy, and involvement. He initiates continuous improvement. The higher the score, the better it is. Do you think this criteria can work as objective and rational? Will this enable you to promote the culture of meritocracy in your organization? Think about it. Friends, thanks for your attention in the third episode of How to Identify Promotional Potentials. We will meet very soon in the fourth episode and the fourth criteria of promotional potential assessment. See you soon. Thank you. Good afternoon. Thanks Manveerji for your kind words. It is an honor to share the dais with my learned and veteran friends Pritha, Mr. Kulkarni, Mr. Vaishnav with Manveerji. My talk is purely based on my personal experiences and reflections. I have divided the subject in two parts. First is my model of relationship in sales. The second part is the principles I learned during my journey in sales. I do hope this adds to your perspective. Let's begin. The relationship in sales is defined into 4 stages in ascending order. Stage 1, that of being a vendor, is the lowest in relationship hierarchy. The client treats you as one among many vendors. I have experienced this stage as a testing stage, a trial approach from client. The vendor has to survive with his skills and performance. Stage 2 is that of becoming a preferred vendor. The client has your alternatives available, but you are the preferred one. Your name tops the memory hook. You have been able to create acceptance. The client wants to try with you a few more times. So you experience that the roadblocks are being lifted. Stage 3 is that of being a reliable friend. The client talks frankly, freely, experiences emotional connect with you. If you say something, the client is open to listen. Doesn't behave like I know it all. Stage 4. This is the highest stage in the hierarchy called trusted partner. You need to sustain the trust and confidence of your client consistently. You are a partner in the solution. Your client may want to sign exclusivity contract with you. You may or may not transit to stage 4 with all your clients. Having learned this, I will now talk about what it took for me to reach to level 3 and 4 relationships with my clients. Principle 1. In the initial contact, I remained stable and firmly grounded. I had already learnt with experience that my excitement may be misunderstood as my desperation. This is likely to create doubt and mistrust in the mind of the client. Principle 2. I did tons of homework. I was thoroughly thorough about extended disk product details, market information, competitor comparison, etc. I restrained from bombarding the client with impressive information. The client would feel my genuineness and would want to try. The client never repented his decision. I continued value addition every time. Principle 3. I learned to listen to the client's needs, problems, and concerns attentively, uninterruptedly. My clients rightly perceived my efforts to understand their perspective. I explained reduction in objections plus closing the sales early. Principle 4. I observed that when sales situation raised objections, sales people responded with a covert expression, "Oh no, not again." This was already perceived by the client, so I handled it differently. I made a directory of objections and learned to answer every objection or interrogative question with interest and patience. My pitch focused on what would solve their concerns than what I had to offer. The client felt comforted. I learned that at times the client had already made a decision in my favor. They only wanted reconfirmation before releasing the purchase order. My style fitted in. Principle 5. My 16 plus years in management consulting industry have revealed that earning trust is a process of consistent delivery. I avoided showing off that I commanded high proximity with my clients. I restrained from becoming personal and going close to my client when I felt this may not be appreciated. I continued delivering timely, reliable, and cost-effective delivery. I had under-promised and I was over-delivering. I waited in the process to let the client develop the need to belong to me. I was able to recognize ripe opportunities for emotional connect on my way. I reached point 3 and 4, reliable friend and trusted partner status very soon. These relations have also lasted longer and on sound footing. Okay. Thanks all for your attentive listening. I do hope you got some value added to your wisdom. My sincere apologies for not being available for question answer session. Thanks Manvirji for being persistent. I am obliged. Best wishes to all of you. Thank you. Hi, this is Nanda Dave, Director of the Mentors, serving corporate with behavioral change and managerial effectiveness training, assessment and profiling solutions, plus consulting in strategic HR areas. Welcome to my 4th podcast in the series on how to define criteria for promotional potential assessment. In the first episode, we talked about promotion decisions, how they affect both employees and employers, what is the importance of promotional potential assessment. The first criteria is focus on employees' track record of managing efficiencies. The second criteria is look for track record of accountability against responsibility. In the second podcast, you learned how accountability and responsibility are two different concepts. In the third podcast, you learned about reviewing a teammate's inclination for adapting to change. Today, we will discuss the fourth criteria, that is, ability to remain focused in spite of outside provocations. Let us understand through a story. The title of the story is Fresh Fish Sold Here. Please do not mind the title. I am a pure vegetarian and assume so you are. The moral is important than the title. In one of the coastal villages of Kerala, there was a fish market. A gentleman decided to enter the fish selling business in a big way. We will call him Swami. He opened a big store that dealt with variety of fish. There was a big hoarding on the shop titled Fresh Fish Sold Here. Other small shop owners took this as a threat and thought of uniting to ensure that Swami closes his big store. First, a few shopkeepers went to Swami's shop, greeted him and congratulated him for his big venture. After a while, one of them said, "Your hoarding is really good, but may I suggest a change? See, this is a fish market and we are all selling fish. So what's the point in writing here in the hoarding? Meaning, please remove the word here from the hoarding." Swami thought, yes, that's right. So he removed the word here from the hoarding. Now one would read the hoarding as fresh fish sold. One more group of shop owners visited him after some time. They too appreciated Swami's big store and variety of fish. Then one person from the group told Swami if he would be open to a suggestion. He said, "Swami, look, we are all here to sell fish and not to do charity. So what's the point in keeping the word sold in the hoarding?" Swami thought this also is right. He removed the word sold. Now the hoarding read fresh fish. After a few days, another group of shop owners visited Swami. They all praised his aesthetic sense and the way he displayed variety of fish in the store. Then one person from the group suggested to remove fresh from the title. He said, "This is a fresh fish market and all are in the business of selling fish. Why do you keep the word fresh?" Swami again thought that this suggestion was good. He removed the word fresh from the title. Now the hoarding had only one word, that is fish. One more group of shopkeepers visited Swami. They suggested, "Why do you keep the word fish? Nothing is sold here except fish." Swami agreed, thanked for the suggestion. Now a big hoarding was kept without any title. More group of shopkeepers came and suggested not to keep this big hoarding if it does not have a title. It's not a good omen. Swami removed the hoarding. That is what the shopkeepers in the market wanted. They all celebrated victory over Swami. Then after about a week's time, a customer visited Swami's shop. He wondered why such beautifully done shop was not having any hoarding or at least a signboard. Swami suddenly realized the malice behind the shopkeeper's suggestions. He prepared double the size board and put it again with the title Fresh Fish Sold Here. What is the moral of the story? Give opportunities to people to express and offer their suggestions. However, be smart enough to implement the same very discreetly. When the employee reaches higher level in the organization, he would encounter many such well-wishers. It is important to judge if the employee has overall organizational welfare in mind, or is he hooked on cheap popularity by listening to everybody around him. Dear employers and fellow HR professionals, such examples are available in ample. Do you think this criteria can work as objective and rational? Thanks for your attention in the 4th episode of How to Identify Promotional Potential. We will meet very soon with the 5th episode and the 5th criteria of Promotional Potential Assessment. Till then, bye. Take care. Thank you. Hi, this is Nanda Dave, Director of the Mentors, serving corporate with behavioral change and managerial effectiveness training, assessments and profiling solutions, plus consulting in strategic HR areas. Welcome to my 5th podcast in the series on how to identify criteria for promotional potential assessment. You have been listening to the series on criteria for identifying promotional potential. So far, we have discussed 4 criteria. Number 1, focus on employees' track record of managing efficiencies. Number 2, look for track record of accountability against responsibility. You learned how accountability and responsibility are 2 different concepts. Number 3, review the teammates' inclination for adopting to change. Number 4, ability to remain focused in spite of outside provocations. Today we will learn the 5th criteria, that is ability to learn continuously, consistently. Let us understand through a story. We all have heard the story of a cap seller during our school time. This cap seller was going from village to village and earned his living. Once it was hot summer afternoon, the cap seller was really tired. He thought of resting under a shady tree. He kept his basket nearby and went off to sleep. The shady tree was a home for a number of monkeys, big, small, newborn, etc. When the cap seller woke up, he saw his basket empty. In panic, he looked around and above, and he realized that the monkeys had picked up the caps from the basket and were wearing on their head. He was wearing a cap himself, so the monkeys imitated him. He thought the monkeys are good imitators, so what was an easy way of getting the caps back? He removed the cap from his head and threw it in the basket. The monkeys on the tree imitated him and threw the caps on the ground. The cap seller collected the same and went off home happily. He shared the story with his young son and how he solved the problem. Years passed by. Now he was old and could not walk long distance. His son handled selling caps. One hot afternoon, he felt the need to rest. He slept under the shady tree. By chance, it was the same shady tree where his father had encountered the problem with monkeys. He woke up from the sleep and realized that the basket was empty. He was not panicked. He knew exactly what to do. He removed the cap from his head and threw this into the basket. But to his surprise, none of the monkeys threw the caps they were wearing. In fact, one baby monkey was without the cap. He ran down like a blazer, picked up the cap, and wore it. The young cap seller stood in complete astonishment and panic. The moral of the story? Just as Father Cap Seller shared the problem and solution with his son, the monkeys also did pass the learning to their children. End result? Yesterday's problems were different and needed different solution. Yesterday's solution cannot be applied to today's situation. Those who fail to learn fail to exist. Dear employers and fellow HR professionals, do you think this criteria can work as an objective and rational criteria? Thanks for your attention in the fifth and final episode of How to Identify Potentials for Promotion in an Employee. Hope you liked the 5 episodes and this added to your wisdom. I look forward to your comments and feedback. Please reach me on 98245 09399 or email at info@thementors-trainers.com. You may visit us on www.thementors-trainers.com. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.